It's me, Erin Lee, and thank you for watching me. So, I know people have been watching some of my Facebook posts, and it's been a while since I have posted here on YouTube. But somebody just recently gave me the push I needed to get back into making videos. As most of the people who follow me know, I was diagnosed with rectal cancer in 2 days before Christmas of 2024. I'd been sick for a really long time. It was just an underlying sense of nausea that stuck with me and just wouldn't go away. At one point in time, I got food poisoning, and now I'm not even sure if that was food poisoning or E. coli that I got that the hospital said I had. I think it might have actually been the fact that I have a 2-inch tumor in my rectum. But I figured that I should share my journey and my story, because I am a very positive person, and I see a lot of things in a positive perspective. I'm always searching and finding silver linings in everything. Like one of my silver linings that I first thought of when I was first told that I had cancer was that oh great, I'm gonna lose my hair, and I hate my hair. It is thin and wiry, and so fine that it hardly holds anything. My flowers are pretty much the only thing that stays in my hair. I use those little clippy claws in my hair to keep my hair up, but even throughout the day, my hair slowly falls out of those, even the tiny ones. I watched my mom's hair get thinner and finer as she grew older and shorter and just break and be brittle as she grew older. And I see my hair doing the same thing, and I absolutely hate it. So I think sometimes to myself, well, did I manifest cancer because I hate my hair? Every time I see my hair, I always think or feel it and touch it. I'm like, ugh, I hate you. You're gross. I wish I had different hair. Well, chemo should make me lose my hair. And I know a lot of people who have had their hair grow back a different texture, a different thickness, just different. I had one friend who was a brunette with semi-straight hair, and she went through chemo and it came back red and curly. But then I've seen the opposite of that happen too. I've seen red and curly go a different direction. So chemo changes your hair. I want different hair. I'm not worried about the fact that I have been diagnosed with cancer. My view on it is that if you are going to get cancer, you want to get one of the cancers that we know about, that we have done lots and lots of research on, that people get all the time and go through treatment and walk away and live long, full, happy lives afterward. That's what I feel like I have in rectal cancer. Also, I found it early. That makes things wonderful. I'm 43. So I'm not even technically supposed to be getting colonoscopies and getting tested. It was purely from the fact that I was nauseous all the time that I finally went to the doctor. And they gave me some Zofran, and it made my nausea go away. And the nausea was masking pain in my abdomen and in my back and in my sides. That was constipation, which got us to go do the colonoscopy where we found the 2-inch tumor. And people have asked me, did I have any bleeding? Well, yeah, I had rectal bleeding, but I have had rectal bleeding since I gave birth to Darian, my son, who is now 21. It comes and goes. I've had the finger test. I've had it looked at. I was always told that it was hemorrhoids. Nothing to worry about. And as long as the blood was bright red, like it was fresh blood, not something that had been sitting for a while, it wasn't nothing to worry about. And as long as it didn't stay. And this blood was coming and going. And it was bright red. So I didn't think anything of it. Well, because of where my tumor is, when anything passes it, it would ooze blood, and it would ooze bright red blood. And it didn't have time to change color, as you would normally see from cancer farther down the colon. I've done 6 weeks of oral chemotherapy and 5 weeks of radiation therapy. We took a week off, and then now we have started look, this is my lovely little, I still got my bandage on from today. This is my lovely little port. That's where they put it in. It was up here, but it moved. It's down right here. This little weird looking port thing. I'm so happy to have it because my veins are horrible. Going to get labs to get blood, you got to stick me 3 or 4 times, 5, 6, 7 times before they actually get blood. IVs 2 or 3 times before they actually get an IV that stays. My veins like to blow. They like to roll. They're deep. So this is really nice, having a port where they can take my blood for labs and I can get my chemo. So let's talk about the oral chemo and the radiation. Radiation wasn't so bad. It was every day. 5 days on, 2 days off, 5 days on, 2 days off, 5 days on, 2 days off. That was our schedule for the entire 5 weeks that I had it done. If some of you will remember that there was an insurance issue at the start of everything where I wasn't able to start on Monday. We started on Tuesday. That was not an insurance issue with my insurance company. The hospital uses a third-party go-between for certain insurances, and it was their third party that they were having an issue with. Like my insurance had approved the procedure that they told the third party didn't tell the hospital that it had been approved by the end of the day on Friday when they had received it. Then it went all over through the weekend, and on Monday it was a holiday, so they weren't even open. So again, it hadn't been referred to anybody. So on Tuesday when they opened, they were, I was on a list of things that they were calling into people to approve, but my doctor had already called them and was chewing them out about it. So that's what happened there. Radiation was different. I don't really feel like there was, I felt a whole lot of from the radiation. It was a 10-minute process at most. I'd go into the room and they had me lay down on the table on my stomach with my hands over or under my head like this, since I'm laying down. And I was on this board that had a scoop in the center of it for my stomach to lay into, so that my intestines and everything would fall forward away from my rectum, so that when we were irradiating the tumor, my intestines and other internal organs that we didn't want to irradiate were farther away from the radiation site. As to side effects, well, first off, the whole process, like, it's loud, and you've got this weird kind of bubble machine going back and forth around you like this. You're not fully enclosed. It's like a big circle with two arms on it, and you're laying in the center of it, and these two arms circle the bed you're laying in and shoot laser beams at you and make noises for 10 minutes, and then you're done. I didn't really feel anything. I felt the side effects, which is the irritation of my digestive tract. It is painful to go to the bathroom, both number 1 and number 2. The radiation is close to my bladder, so my bladder has some irritation. So when I do urinate, I have pain in my belly button that runs down my urethra to my urethra, that burns. But there's azo that I am taking for that clears that right up, and that's not an issue anymore. I ended up getting hand, foot, and mouth disease, which is blisters on your hands and your feet and your mouth. That was a side effect of the oral capecitabine chemo that they sent me. And I received that from a pharmacy in Arizona, I do believe is where it came from. And they sent me a care package with the chemo, of different lotions, some chapstick, some Aquaphor, some antidiarrheal, some no, I already said that. Sorry, my bad. I'm trying not to have a brain fart here. Excuse me. I'm going to sit here for a second and try to remember where I was at, because brain injury don't fail me now. We were talking about chemo and the radiation. Not a whole lot of side effects from the radiation. Radiation was really quick and easy. It did make me really tired, though. I was fatigued a lot. During the 5 weeks of radiation, I slept. I slept a lot. And I did go on one day I went out with Anne Marie and Kevin. They let me come over to their house, and Anne Marie made us a wonderful dinner. And we all sat around and chit chatted and spoke. And after we were done eating, we went and we played Singo at one of the local bars. And then after Singo, we went to another bar and we did karaoke. We were out until they picked me up at 4 p.m. and we were out until 2 o'clock at night. And it was fun. It was good for my mental health. I drank nothing but Sprite and water the entire night. And it took a lot out of me. It took me days to feel like I had recovered from that. Even though I did not drink alcohol that night, in the morning when I woke up, I felt like I was hungover. It was crazy. But it was fun and much needed, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. The capecitabine, the oral chemo, makes me nauseous, makes me feel just unwell and sick. Thankfully, the Zofran handles most of that. Because the Zofran doesn't handle all of it, and I desperately don't like feeling sick. I have started using edibles and RSO oil and smoking weed on top to get rid of everything, just to make me feel comfortable. And my doctor says that's wonderful. Keep doing what I'm doing. She loves the fact that, like, one of the things that I'm doing for my bladder pain and my urinary tract issue, because we've done tests. It's not a urinary tract infection. There's no infection. It is just irritation from the radiation. And now that the radiation is stopped, it should go away in about 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, I shouldn't have to use the azo bladder pain medication anymore. And I'm using that sporadically, only when I really, really need to. When the pain's not super bad, I'm getting away with taking a swab with castor oil and sticking it in my belly button and just leaving it there and letting it sit. That has really been helping. So I've been doing that. Also, so the capecitabine is decreasing my immune system, which is allowing me to be susceptible to hand, foot, and mouth disease, which is blisters breaking out on your hands and your feet and your mouth and everything. I had that to start with. I found that if I take an Epsom salt bath with about 2 cups of Epsom salt in it, and I stay in the bath for an hour, 2 hours sometimes longer, depending on how I'm feeling. I'll soak in the bath until the water gets cold, and then I'll let it out and fill it back up. And sometimes I'll do that 2 or 3 times. I only ever put the Epsom salt in the first soak, but since I started doing that, I'm not getting blisters on my hands, on my feet, in my mouth. None of that's happening. So that's nice. It's good that isn't going on. My doctor isn't sure if I'm going to lose my hair. She says she doesn't think I'm going to lose my hair. It is one of the side effects, though. And everyone is different. We'll see. Today was the first dose of the IV chemo. And that's what we really want to talk about. It took about 2 hours for that whole thing to get administered through the line. So it goes kind of slow. And I wasn't really feeling a whole lot. I mean, I felt a little weird from it, but I wasn't feeling a whole lot of anything, really. Anything noteworthy. Until the machine went off and said it was done. And I hit the call button to have the nurse come in. And she looked at it and said, yep, it's gone through everything. There's just what's in this line, so I'm going to clear the line. And she took a saline bolus, and she bolused the saline through the line, which shot the rest of the chemo that was in the line into me rather quickly. Rather at the slow, steady rate that it had been going into me. So when she did that, the tips of my fingers immediately started to tingle, and my lips went all tingly, and after a little bit, they went completely numb. They're not numb anymore. They are a little tingly. My fingers tips are still a little bit tingly. I did go to the ER today. We finished with the IV chemo around 3:30 at the hospital today. And when we were getting ready to leave, I stood up to leave, and I just felt really dizzy and lightheaded. And I mentioned that, so they asked me to stay so that they could take my vitals. And we did postural blood pressures that changed a little bit, but not anything drastic. So they said I was free to go home, and we left. It was an hour drive home. We got here, and went to the gas station, picked up a few snacks and things, and came home. I tried to eat a hot dog, and my throat kind of tightened up a little bit, and so did my cheeks, and it was weird. And we had to stop at the pharmacy to pick up the rest of my oral chemo, which has now increased. The dose is increased. So instead of taking three big pills and 1 little pill, I'm taking 4 big pills. So it's like 2,000 milligrams of capecitabine. Realized, hey, I need to take that, and so I opened up an Arizona green tea, and I took out my 4 pills, and I popped them back, and took a drink of my green tea. And when I took a drink of my green tea, it was like I hadn't eaten or drinking or had anything in my mouth for days. All the skin and everything on the inside of my mouth and my cheeks just kind of tightened up and got really tense for a moment, and then they started to relax as I continued to drink and continued to chew, because it happened when I tried to eat a hot dog. I drank some drinks, I took my medicine. My throat was feeling all sorts of weird. Still right now I feel like I have one of the pills here in my throat, which is what I went to the emergency room for, because after that happened and it felt like it was stuck here, I drank a whole entire Arizona tea, and nothing. It doesn't feel like it moved. So I went and I got a pudding cup, and I ate the whole entire pudding cup, and it didn't feel like it moved. And my lips are all tingly, my cheeks are tingly, and now my eyes feel weird, and my eyelids feel puffy and swollen, which had me a little concerned. So I called my bestie Jackie and asked her if she could take me to the ER. I didn't want to bother Darian. I didn't really think this was going to be something like major. And he worked all night and then came and stayed at the hospital with me all day. And we didn't get home until 4:30. He didn't get to go to bed until 5. So I think it was 8 o'clock when I called Jackie to ask her if she could take me over to the emergency room, because I didn't want to wake him. He'd only been asleep for 2 hours, something like that, maybe 3. He'd only been asleep for a little while, and I didn't want to bother him. So Jackie came and took me over to the emergency room, and they didn't really even look at me. Other than to listen to my concerns and then tell me what was going on, and that even if I had something stuck in my throat that I wanted them to come look at, they don't have the equipment or anything to do anything about it here, so they'd have to send me to Great Falls. And that what I'm feeling is probably just a residual, that the pill's not there anymore. It just feels like it's like a ghost feeling, something, I don't know. He says as long as I am drinking and eating, keeping everything down and breathing and talking and going about my business like nothing's wrong, other than the fact that I feel like there's something stuck right here, I'm fine. If that changes and I become unable to breathe, then I'll go back in. At that point, of course, I'll wake up my child. But I have noticed that the feeling that I was feeling in my eyes and everything has gone away. My eyes don't really feel so much like they were swollen, or that my eyes are foggy, twitchy, weird. I don't know. It hasn't been so bad. It's a little weird. But hey, it's cancer and it's chemo. How do you expect to go through treatment and not feel anything whatsoever? There's gonna be something. These are my somethings. They're not too bad of a something. So just keep tootling right along, because that's what we do. The universe throws things at us, and we just gotta roll with it, you know? And like I was saying earlier, that we caught my cancer early. That's a blessing. That's always a blessing. Please get yourself checked. If you got something that's going on, something that just doesn't feel right, ask your doctor for a test. Ask to be seen. Ask to have something checked out. And if you get a doctor that tells you that they don't think that test is necessary, get a second opinion. Go find somebody else. There are other doctors. They are not the only doctor available to you. Go find one that will let you get the test, that will give you the peace of mind to know that, okay, yeah, this thing that's going on with me is not something that I have to fear or be worried about. Find a doctor that supports you. I feel super blessed that I have the doctors that I do. They're wonderful. Dr. K and Dr. Underhill at the Great Falls Clinic have been absolutely amazing. Dr. Jensen at Benefice is my surgeon. He's been awesome. Dr. Taylor and Dr. Hofstad and Dr. Ahrens here in Conrad have been absolutely amazing. I love you all, and thank you for finding what you found and giving me the chance to go and get it taken care of before it is something serious and something that I do have to be worried about. Because right now I feel like it's not something that I have to worry about. It's just something I have to get through. Shoot, I've been told that if the radiation and the chemo have done their job well enough, at the end of this 4 months of IV chemo and oral chemo, we're going to repeat the colonoscopy. And there is a chance that there is no cancer cells left, that the tumor is shrunk, gone, disappeared, along with all of its little friends. And if that's the case, then I will not have to have surgery. If there is something left, then I will have to have surgery, which will require me to have an ostomy, a lovely little poop bag. But I'll only have that for 5 to 6 weeks while that heals. And then the ostomy goes away and I can go about my life and go forth. Sally ho. Or tally ho. Sally ho. Did I say Sally ho? I said Sally ho. Ha ha ha. Yeah, so I don't think I'm gonna bother trying to edit this one today. I just wanted to put this out there because I have been enlightened to the fact that there is a need. There is a need for me to share my story and share what I'm going through, and not just the emotional things, but the physical aspects of what chemo is doing to me and how I go through it. Because there are people who are out there who are scared, who, if diagnosed, don't want to go through, are of the mindset that, no, I won't do the chemo, simply because they're scared of it and they don't know what it's going to do to them, But everyone is different. We don't know what it's going to do to you. What it does to me, it might not do to you. And I guess that's not helping my plight any here, but I think just telling my story and being here and letting you all see everything raw can help someone, and I hope it does. So I am going to continue to try to do these and let you know how my progress is going. If you have questions, please feel free to hit me up in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Love you all. Bye.